All right, President Biden is meeting with Japan's prime minister and South Korea's president today at Camp David.
But all eyes remain on his son, Hunter Biden, after a federal judge yesterday dismissed his misdemeanor tax charges, and Republicans work to uncover Biden's alleged involvement in Hunter's overseas business dealings, who he has spoken of many times with our next correspondent.
And Peter Doocy is live from the White House. Hey, Peter. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. President Biden is waking up at Camp David today. He is going to have a limited press availability later on with the leaders of Japan and South Korea. And maybe somebody out in the crowd will ask about the latest lawsuit. It was filed against the CIA by Judicial Watch. They want records that are going to help figure out how they quickly at the CIA cleared that now infamous letter signed by 50-plus intel officials who all insisted Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation, something that we now know is not true, and something that a majority of voters think shows laws being broken. The new Fox poll says 50% think Hunter's business dealings were illegal, 36% say unethical. And we are still learning a lot about how then Vice President Biden's office operated, as the House Oversight Committee says they found Joe Biden's private email alias, Robert L. Peters.
I believe that one reason that Hunter was CC'd on those emails where Joe Biden was using a fake name is so Hunter could prove to the Ukrainian oligarch, look, help is on the way. Who do you think they were referring to when they were talking to Hunter Biden, who they've said was dumber than their dogs, who was a drug addict, who had no experience, that we need help from Washington? Who do you think they were talking about?
But a lot of this was litigated more than a decade ago. The Obama-Biden spokesman publicly explained at the time that aliases are commonplace, and he explained why.
If they are inundated in one account with either public emails or spam or the like, that they can continue to use their other account for normal work.
If somebody uses an email alias like then Vice President Biden apparently did, those emails are still subject to FOIA. So if he was trying to hide something, he would essentially be hiding it in plain sight, at least in this case. Back to you.
Right, and the way I read the story, Peter, it was also a federal government agency website, so it's not like he, was doing anything off the books. But don't a lot of people in D.C. do this?
Yeah, as I understand it, just about everybody's boss in D.C., all the elected officials have some version of this. And there is a wide range when it comes to alias stories. This is not like a private account outside a server where your name is Carlos Danger.
Yeah, good point.
Which was around the same time as this.
Yeah.
They have very plain names that nobody would think to pick out if they got like an email directory of a whole office.
Well, Peter, why did it take this oversight committee 8 months to figure out kind of a no-brainer?
That's a great question. They say that they will explain it as they get the info. So we'll wait for that.
One other thing, Peter, we've asked you a million times where Hunter Biden lives, because it looks like he lives there. And the Washington Post came out with something overnight.
Yeah, they had an item that after the plea deal that just fell apart was initially announced, Hunter Biden, his wife, and their son came and stayed at the White House for about 2 weeks. And the Washington Post is also reporting overnight that the day the deal was falling apart, Biden aides built a bunch of time into his schedule so that he could keep track of what was going on in Wilmington. They also, apparently, according to this report, made a conscious effort to keep President Biden away from the press. They did not want him exposed at all at any kind of an event that whole day because they didn't want him reacting to something before they had time. And he still has not reacted to the appointment of a special counsel, or the elevation of David Weiss as a special counsel to look into his son's allegations of his son's wrongdoing.
Yeah, and they also say they are glad they kept his schedule open that day. It was on July 26th because the plea deal collapsed, prolonging Hunter's legal issues. They said there was particular concern in the West Wing that day because First Lady Jill Biden was traveling out of the country, leaving the president without his primary source of support.
And Peter, so the White House made a concerted effort to keep him away from the press, and then when you came back from maternity leave a week ago, he sees you, he waves you over, and you had to jump over a bike rack. And I would imagine the White House is going, what is happening? We're trying to keep those guys away from him.
Well, it's their whole job to control the message, but sometimes he wants to get the word out. So that's good.
He's the
that's why we
president.
come.
When he says, no, I want to talk to Peter Doocy, they have to let him.
Because I need to tell somebody they've got a lousy question.
There's a lot of that going around.
There is. All right, Peter, thank you. I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.